On our last full day in New Mexico, we went on a tour of Carlsbad Caverns, and it's just a must-see. It took me a long time to get here. It's something I wanted to do ever since I was a kid, so finally made it here. So this is a big deal. And it has a nice entrance and visitor center where you go in. And you go up to the ticket counter and you have to have reservations for a certain time that you have to make in advance, sometimes like a month or two in advance. But when you get there, the crowds are not overwhelming. The parking lot's full, but it's very workable, the way the people go up to the ticket counter and it flows through. So you don't get the sense that this is where millions of people go each year, but because it's so well spaced out, the National Park Service, as they typically do, does a really good job. Very well done. So what I'm going to show you is some slides leading up to going into the cave, and I took the natural route, they call it, natural entrance, where you walk down into the cave, and then I took an elevator back up because it's 75 floors deep. So yeah, I didn't want to walk back up after I'd walked all the way down. But I'm going to show you video after this introductory set of slides just to give you the sense of how this works. But it's very well done. They have a gift shop and restaurant. I think they have a couple of gift shops. And they give you estimates of how long it'll take. If you hike in 2.5 miles, they say expect to spend about 2.5 hours. I think you could spend a little bit less, around 2 hours. If you take the elevator back up after you've walked around downstairs. And these are the prices. They're very reasonable prices. We actually have a national park pass, so we can go to any national park for free, pay an upfront fee of like $85 for a lifetime pass, so it's a great deal. We try to use it. Now we're trying to go to national parks a lot because we have this free pass. And it's very low key. You go in through like a gift shop and then go through a little introductory area, which people will tend to stop and look at before they go actually on the hike down into the cave. I just sort of whizzed through here, but I did take some pictures just to give a flavor. And they have a scale model of the cave. And this is roughly the route you take when you go in. You walk down from the upper left down, and then you get down to a level that's 75 stories down, and you walk pretty much at one level around what they call the great room, big room. And it's a series of rooms, really. It's not just one giant room. And then you sort of do a loop in a clockwise way, and you come back on the other side, and then you go back to near where you came in, and then you take an elevator back up. And this is a closer up view of the great room itself. One of the big things that is one of the main hallmarks or features of the cave are these large stalagmites that you see there. And this just shows another angle of the 3D model, and it shows the visitor center up above where you take the elevator up to the visitor center after you've walked around in the cave. So you come out, and this is the entrance path to the main portal to the cave. And as you can see, there's just a few people. It's not like a crowd of people. Not like you're immediately, there's less people. I think a lot of people might tend to take the elevator. I don't know. When you go into the cave, eventually you'll see a fair amount of other people, but going into the cave, it's really, you feel like you have the whole place to yourself almost. And this is just a sign that we've seen at a couple different national parks where they've had the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 1930s, 1940s, when millions of people were out of work due to the Great Depression. They got work for people to do, and one of the things they did was build some of the facilities here at Carlsbad Caverns. So where you're walking to, the main entrance, they call it the Bat Flight Amphitheater, and a lot of people go at dusk to watch the bats that fly out of the cave. But this is earlier in the day. I think this is in the mid-morning, late morning that I went into the cave. My wife stayed up top. She decided not to go down into the cave. So I went by myself. But you walk through this amphitheater that they have sort of built in right in front of the entrance. And it's a big thing to watch all the bats fly out. But where they live in the cave, is they described it to us, they're in like a separate area where they hang out during the day. And so I never saw any bats. You don't see any bats during the day. And just for people who are going to see the bats, they don't want you to use your cameras or anything electronic, because that can disturb their radar. So you're already starting to walk down, descending down from the visitor center through real scrubby brush, and those are like rangers' quarters over there to the left, at least partly built by the CCC. Kind of looks like an Italian hillside village to me. And it's definitely deserty with cacti, different kinds of cacti, and just a small sign pointing you to where you got to go. Keep going. And then you're met by a ranger, and there were just 4 of us at this point, where the ranger gave like one of the shortest introductory talks I've ever heard by a ranger, but he's basically just telling us, don't touch anything and be careful, it can be slippery because it's moist. So with that in mind, we proceeded on. And you walk down through the amphitheater to get to the entrance to the cave at the low far end. And there's the first glimpse of the entrance to the cave. This is a major national park in the U.S., right up there with Yellowstone and Yosemite, Carlsbad Caverns. So this is the entrance to the Carlsbad Caverns. And you go down a winding path. It's all paved. That's one thing I remark on during the video part of this later on. It's just the amount of work that they did to build the pathways that go into a very difficult and steep entrance. It's really an engineering marvel. But it's kind of dark in the video. It's unavoidable. I used my GoPro camera and also my iPhone to take pictures. And what I've done is I've shot video, and then at certain points where I also took pictures, the pictures I took with my iPhone are brighter, and so where it gets dark, I have put in different places where I've put in pictures just to give you a better feel for what I'm actually looking at. But you can see when you're down there, but it is dark. You're not going to wear sunglasses or anything down there in the cave. They light it up, but it's very well done. It's subtly lit. It's not bright or garish or anything. It's just perfectly done. And there's a closer up view of the entrance to the cave. And you can already start to see that we're walking on these switchback paths, and that's what you'll keep on walking on going down into the cave. And it will be very steep. So here's another switchback getting closer. And as is the case of a lot of places, especially in the US, they like to compare things to the Empire State Building. So we're going nearly as deep as the Empire State Building is tall. We're going 75 stories deep. The Empire State Building is about 100 stories tall in New York City. It's called the Descent, and that's what we're starting on. So here's the last slide, and then we'll pick it up with the video from here on out. And enjoy the tour. And I'm not showing this video to supplement you never going to Carlsbad Caverns. I think you should go to Carlsbad Caverns, and I just hope that this will make you want to go rather than to sit back in your chair and feel like you've gone. So that's the point of this video. Thanks for watching. Visitor Center at Carlsbad Caverns. We're way up high. Going down into the entrance. It's a series of switchbacks, 75 stories down. I'll be taking the elevator back up. It's nice to have this set of walkways to get down in here. It wasn't as easy to get down here originally. I have to say that one thing they don't mention is that it does smell like a huge bathroom. Just saying. All right, let me keep going. Some people are behind me, but there's nobody in front of me. I feel like I have this whole cave to myself. I think a lot of people are taking the elevator. I swear there were a lot of people in the visitor center, and the parking lot was full, but you'd never know it. I'm like all alone in this huge cave. One thing is it's bright outside, as you might expect, and it's taking my one eye a little time to adjust to the dark here. It's not exactly super bright down here. Very minimally lit. And there's probably what's the last vestige of natural sunlight, so it's all electric for the rest of the way in. And down we go. See our first stalactites. Now it smells kind of like donkey smell or something. I don't know. I'm giving you the sights and smells of Carlsbad Caverns. I don't know if you can see here, it's so dark, but they have little seating areas at different spots. And then this is like the first informational sign. Here's a little sunlight. It's still pretty dim. This is about as dimly lit a video as you could possibly have, but I'm going down, down, down. They have little signs here that say that they have cameras that are watching people. Make sure they're not doing any stupid stuff. Fantastic. Real steep at this part. You want to hold the railing. Fortunately, there's no steps. And it's continuous asphalt pavement, but you do want to watch your step. There's some people below me as we keep going down. It was really steep there. For one stretch, you really feel like you're really going down quickly. There's an audio tour that you can get. I didn't inquire about that. I'm doing the self-guided tour. But People are speaking in very hushed tones in here and even whispering because you're not supposed to disturb the other people because it's like an echo chamber in here. Kind of a cool, slightly better lit passageway, and then you gotta crouch down here to go through a spot and then back up some steps. First steps I've encountered here. I feel like we're coming upon some big feature here. Let's see. I just felt a drop. By the way, my wife is staying up top. We made a last second decision. We got tickets, but for an unguided tour, it's only $1 or $2. And we have a parks pass to get in to all the national parks. So we didn't lay out any big sum of money for her not to go on this, but she can get claustrophobic, so she's going to stay up top and just enjoy the sun and go to the visitor center. Maybe watch a movie about the place, that kind of thing. All right, this is pretty wild. Unending, it just keeps going down, down, down. By the way, they say that some people walk down in and walk back up, but I haven't seen anybody walking back up. Everybody's one way walking down, hoping that that elevator works for sure. Here comes somebody coming back up. They advise you to hold on to the railings as you're going down, which I have been doing. Of course, everybody else is too, so if you're worried about COVID and stuff, you might make sure not to touch your mouth or face while you're doing this unless you have sterilizing cloths or sterilizing liquid. But yeah, you want to hold on to the railings, and the railings are always damp, so just another consideration. The other thing is temperature wise, it's fine. I mean, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, but you could, and shorts, but you could wear a short sleeve shirt. It's not freezing or anything down here. It's like perfect temperature. Perfect cave temperature. I mean, we take this for granted, but it's an engineering marvel that they built this walkway system down deep into this cave. Unbelievable amount of work. Not easy to do. It's looking back from where I came, and I'm just going to pretend I'm the first person who ever discovered this room here. It's pretty cool. Sure, going to see really cool stuff when we get to the big room or the great room. Let's see what's around this bend here. All cool. This is telling me I'm in the big room. So we'll walk around the big room and then go back to the elevators. That's the way to the elevators, if you can see that. I feel like I'm just in the start of the big room, because I always imagine this to be bigger. Let's just see. Keep in mind, I've wanted to go here since I was a boy, so I would see pictures and it always looked gigantic. So this is big and bigger than anything else we've seen so far, but I thought it'd be bigger. We'll see. Oh, this is pretty big. I think the thing I remember seeing pictures of about the big room were these huge stalagmites that come up from the floor. And it looks like there's some in this next part of the big room. You see some here. All right, let's take a closer look further up. Another point the ranger made when we first entered, there was 4 of us, and he gave us a little safety talk before we started our descent into the cave, is don't touch anything. So some of these stalagmites are right there. You could touch them, but resist. This is pretty cool. It's like a cone. Just goes on and on. I keep wondering if these are the iconic pictures you see when you come here of the huge stalagmites. Maybe there's even bigger ones. Must be the ones they're talking about. But it's just a great room overall. Now I feel like we're walking through a forest of stalagmites and stalactites. They call it fairyland. Popcorn-covered stalagmites. Well, this is the biggest room yet that I've seen. Looking back, you can sort of see a rope where in one picture they showed the cavers that went up to another chamber up above there. So yeah, the great room is like mostly level after you've walked steeply down on switchbacks. So it's nice you don't have to hold on to the handrails as much here. And a little pond. It looks like a pond. So we'll do the full great room trail. So now I think I'm
on the part of the Big Room Trail it's heading back. It looks like you come in on one side of the Great Room and you go back on the other. But I didn't see this trail from the outbound side, so headed back. This just shows you, like, even though you're way below the surface, there's even other levels even further lower. Just amazing. And sure, I wanted to get on a guided tour, but they got grabbed up quickly. They opened them up in blocks like you were here in early October, and the guided tours went up for sale like right around Labor Day. And I checked maybe a day later and they'd all been snatched up. But I think going on a self-guided tour is fine. You can enjoy it at your own pace. The thought just occurred to me is, what if you stayed here past closing time? For whatever reason. I mean, a lot of the people here look like they are in no hurry to leave. So, at the end of the day, what do? Turn off all the lights? I thought there was something I read that part of the tour experience is that you're on a tour, they do turn off the lights so you can appreciate the darkness. And then when they turn them back on, it takes a little while for the lights to warm back up. But I have not experienced that, but that's fine with me. I'm sure it's very dark. This is like the biggest part of the big room on our way back. There's the route we came in on over there. The way things are lit up, it's just so cool. That's the silent bell, they call it. Looks like a bell, doesn't make any sound. And I feel like we're on the stretch run back to the elevator. So I just have a few more minutes down here in the cave. Pretty fantastic. Look at these stalagmites here. So well lit here. Say we're less than 10 minutes from the elevator. I don't think people are speaking in hushed tones because they're told to, as they're just in sheer awe of this place. So, as am I. Fantastic place to visit. And this is called the Chinese Theater. They're always trying to come up with descriptive names. I would just enjoy it for what it's worth rather than comparing it to looking like this or looking like that. One other thing I was just recalling is when I've been to caves before, sometimes they've used different colored lighting, which creates a unique effect. Here they're just using the, standard incandescent light, maybe, but it's all one tint of yellow. Very subtle. They're not trying to make this more than what it is, but what it is fantastic, so they don't have to. All right, I'll show you the elevator when we get there. I don't know if you can see this, but it says it's this way to the rest area, restrooms, elevators. They even have a gift shop down here and like a little restaurant if you just don't want to leave this place. But I'll go up and do all those things up top with my wife. So I was budgeting like 2 hours walking down here and walking around. That's about what I've spent. It's this way to the elevators, but then it's cordoned off, so you know, they gotta be working. So I thought maybe they would have an actual room or something. But it's just in an open area. All right, let's go back up somehow. Okay, we go through this revolving door, and this is where the elevators are. I thought there'd be a long line, but thankfully not. It's a nice quick ride. I don't know who has the elevator contract here, but good job. It only took like 30 seconds to go 75 stories up. All right, let's see where my wife is. This is the gift shop right as you come off the elevator. I might be wrong, but it doesn't seem like it's ever really super crowded here. You have to have reservations to come here, so they keep the crowds down in size. And now let's go outside. My wife said she'd be waiting.